Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. It is me once again, screaming into the void of the internet. You know, I said I was going to talk about this, and, I essentially went to the mall today with my roomie. No, it was not a date, but it was just to hang out. But, even while I was, having a decent time out at the mall and going to the arcades and, just spending time with other people, because something that I do try and advocate for you guys is, if you are in this space, and I'm going to get to the topic, and you are lonely, try and connect with people, guys. Do not underestimate the power of just hanging out with other people, okay? I know that you hear the saying that humans are social, which is a complicated thing. I don't want to say that it is not true, but it's complicated, because just because you're social, sometimes that doesn't mean the people that you're hanging with are good people. And I guess this kind of is going to bring me to the topic, and you also kind of have to understand that if you do hang out with people, especially as that group grows, your brain will change to fit whatever that group wants you to fit. So you do have to kind of keep hold of your individuality, keep hold of your principles and your beliefs, because it is important. And even though there's a lot of people in this space, there's a lot of doomers and black pillars in this space that want to believe that, you should be an absolute hedonist, you should be a nihilistic person with no principles. I don't believe that at all. It's one thing to give up on society. It's one thing to acknowledge how flawed this cancerous world that we live in is. And it's another thing to just say, all right, nothing matters at all. Because when you see stuff like this happen, when you see stuff like that woman getting absolutely shanked to death on the train, when you see this guy, Charlie Kirk, a guy that I wasn't the fondest of, mainly from the trad cuck perspective, okay? It's not really that, he says stuff I don't like, he's a garbage human being. It's just that he's a trad cuck, and I've made my thoughts on trad cucks very clear. When you watch stuff like that happen, and this happens pretty recent, okay? It's sad to know that that girl essentially was dead for a month by now, and we had no clue, because the leftoid media was censoring it. Let's go back to our favorite year, 2020. If you remember, there was an article that was massively censored. There was so much just silence on this issue. You had to dig through the scrap to bring it up. Do you remember Cannon Hinnett? Yeah. He was iced, shall we say, because I have to watch my arse on this platform. He was iced by an insufferable little bastard with melanin in his skin, a nibba, a blizzax. And in everyone's favorite year, 2020, with I Can't Breathe and Track Dives Fatter, if you catch my drift, apparently that wasn't something that they were going to allow. They weren't going to allow you to hear anything about the possible idea that somebody with black skin was being harmful. Oh no, they're always victims, they're always innocents, they're oppressed, they're marginalized, Because something that I was listening to, believe it or not, the day that I found this out was I was on my way to work, and my Uber driver just kind of he said, hey man, this guy just got shot. But it was from a statement where it's he didn't want to openly say that he was fine that that happened, but he was kind of implying that he was more on the side of, well, if you speak like that, something's going to happen. And in a way, that's true. Okay? When you make your whole identity known to be this very polarizing person, that is going to come with risks. Okay? That's going to come with risks. A lot of risks. If you're fine with that, all right. But you better be willing to say, hey, I'm not just risking my hide. I'm risking my family. And I'm not telling you this because I want you to be afraid, but I'm letting you know that stuff like this has always happened. This ain't nothing new. People who are polarizing go missing. This is throughout history. You talk about the king, you talk about, the Pope, you talk about whatever kind of official that's in charge, the dictator, whatever. You talk about these people, and it's not just you that suffers, it's your family. And that's how they get you. They get you with fear, But the fact of the matter is that it's not enough, in my opinion, to talk about these issues. You hear so much thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. Shut up. Shut up. Thoughts and prayers are not enough. They're not enough. And I say this honestly, and I don't care if someone, thinks this is a good or bad thing or whatever. I don't care. I am a Bible believer. But I believe it based on a lot more logic than people would actually believe, They think that it's all spiritual mumbo jumbo, but there's a lot of logic that can go into it. I acknowledge the fact that we need principles. Whether you believe that those principles should come from the Bible or something else is irrelevant to me. But we need principles. Humans are animalistic creatures. They don't want to think. They have the ability to reason. They have one of the greatest things, the ability for logic and reason, and they refuse. They refuse over and over again to use that. No, let's just go ahead and continuously operate based on feelings. Feelings are what matter. Logic doesn't matter. We'll never look outside of anything other than our own perspective. The only thing that matters is what I feel. Does this feel good? Never mind if the long-term consequences are going to be beneficial for our children and those that come after us. Does this feel good to me? That's what it's always about, right? In a certain aspect, I can get it. Because the fact is, people here aren't really doing nothing for me. So F them, right? That's how you think. And hey, at the end of the day, the people that come after me, or the people that are born right now, and then by the time I'm old, they're young or they're an adult, they're 9 times out of 10 not really going to give a rat's arse about you. So yes, I'm not going to pretend like I can't understand that. But nonetheless, it takes a certain kind of dumb arse who is convinced that, all right, let's burn everything, And then you have the gall to get mad and complain when your life is getting even worse. Because listen, a lot of people like to believe that, this is as worse as it can be. There is no greater hell on earth than it could be. Oh, no. Let me tell you something, my friend. And I'm sure that, people in this space can tell you who have been through a lot worse crap. As a guy that's kind of had to contend with homelessness, as a guy who's had to basically grow up with minimal amounts of water and freaking food and go to school hungry, sometimes beaten, covered in bruises, yeah, it can get worse. You think that you're at rock bottom. That's just a false little floor right there. It can get deeper. It can always get deeper. Always. So if you're really one of these people, if you're one of these jackasses that has the capacity to think that, well, let's just let it all burn, do not be surprised with how fast that fire spreads. Don't. Because at the end of the day, we do need some principles, folks. I don't care if you want to believe that or not. Or again, where you want to believe that those principles should come from, but we do need some principles. Humans are not rational. It doesn't really seem that. It doesn't. It seems like there are very few people who are rational, and if they gain a bit of charisma and they gain a bit of a following, then they go, oh, yes, massa, I'll follow you. And I don't say that as in a racially motivated way. I'm just saying that in general. Because listen, I'm going to say something unpopular right now. A lot of people want to try and make this about race and stuff like that, but let me tell you something straight. Listen, at the end of the day, no matter if somebody looks like you or not, they don't give a rat's ass about you. They don't care about you at all, Bowie. The people in this country making decisions, the people in that Senate, they're a whole bunch of old freaking Hugh Whites. And they don't give a rat's ass about their own people. I'm just being honest. You can argue that they're Zionists all you want, but hey, at the end of the day, they still got Hugh White skin. And they're taking orders from little hat bastards, right? So they chose money over their kin. Just because somebody looks like you does not mean that they're going to, look after you. And based off of what we're seeing with this whole shooter for Charlie, I'm not going to say 100% that it's a Hugh White, but it is looking so far like it is a Hugh White. Now, maybe I'm wrong, so People are still not 100% certain if they caught this guy or not. So by the time I'm by the time I'm making this, but we'll see. If I'm wrong, then I apologize. Go ahead and tell me I'm an idiot, whatever. I don't care, you know. But what I'm trying to say is this. A fuse has been lighting in this freaking space, in the Western space, for a very long time. And people like to believe that it's about race. No, 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 no. It's for a myriad of issues. One of the biggest issues is the fact that we have killed any form of rationale everywhere. We have gone down this pursuit of individuality, which I think is a beautiful thing. Individuality is a good thing. But when you start getting it in your head that I, as an individual, do not need to think outside of any other perspective other than my own, that's when that starts screwing you in the arse. You know? When you start thinking that you've got all the answers, yeah. Buddy, let me tell you something right now. You think you're some kind of Superman and you can't even fix your car. You can't even fix your freaking toilet. You can't even fix a goddamn meal because so many of us are so freaking lazy and we're just ordering food, processed garbage, filling our bodies with that crap every single day. And you think you got all the answers to where you can't allow any other perspective? Nah. Nah. That's a fool's notion. A foolish notion to have. There are tons of issues that are boiling over in all of these countries. It's not just an American issue. It's a modern world issue. And you can label this back to feminism. You can label this back to just kicking out fathers in the homes. And listen, this is in all these modern countries. You know, you can suck Japan's dick all you want. But that feminism crap over there killed that freaking country. And I do say killed. Because now that this immigration is there, yeah. That feminism killed that country. And it's going to kill it. It's going to kill it. With all these immigrants. Ukraine. You know, despite what people want to say about that girl, and I don't think that she deserved what happened to her. She supported Track Dives Fatter. She abandoned her country to be safer here. She abandoned her men to get blown apart and die horrendous deaths to be here. It's just something to think about. I'm just saying, it's just something to think about. A whole bunch of those Ukrainian women were dancing and twerking and making all these videos, making themselves available to all these other countries while their men got slaughtered. And at the end of the day, a whole bunch of people in Ukraine look the same. Just saying. They look the same. So, is everyone looking the same mean that they're going to have group preference? No. Because at the end of the day, guess what? At the end of the day, I don't really think that humans have group preference. I don't. I think it's all about individuality. How much can I get ahead in life? As long as I'm at the top of that pyramid, F everyone else, right? That's what it is. That's what it always boils down to. But I'm telling you something. I don't know how long this powder keg is going to continue to burn. But I saw the traces on the wall, on, the atmosphere, whatever the heck you want to call it, right? Metaphorically speaking. And it continued to burn since 2020. I think 2020 was the year of awakening. Nothing has ever felt the same since 2020. I remember it like yesterday. Gas the unvaccinated, right? These people deserve to get hauled off to concentration camps. Do you remember that? I remember that. And you're seeing it right now. How many people are celebrating the fact that a kid is going to grow up without a dad and a woman is widowed? Despite my opinion on marriage and love and romance, I do not celebrate the fact that a woman is widowed right now. I don't celebrate the fact that, I don't want kids. But that doesn't mean that a kid should grow up without a freaking dad. And these cocksuckers, every last one of them, they're celebrating that. They think it's funny because they don't like what somebody says that they should die. If that's the case, everyone should die, right? Right? Has a kid said something that's, polarizing before? Yeah, there are some sharp kids out there. I said stuff that was polarizing as a kid. Oh, yeah. Listen, I can tell you right now, I was in high school and I wrote something that was anonymous because you were supposed to write it anonymous. It was about cyberbullying. And I said, it's a computer, turn it off. But you want to know how my little cock-sucking, I can't even remember what class this was. I think it was computer lab or something like that. My little cocksucker of a teacher, a sister, a Blizzax woman. She read it in the most conniving, like arrogant way. I didn't write it like that. I said, I think that you need to learn how to get past the fact that people are going to tell you stuff that you don't like on the internet. It's a computer. You have to learn to just turn it off. If you can't handle it, but that's not how she said it. She said it with all this gusto. It's a computer. You need to grow up. Like all of that nonsense. And I'm sure, 9 times out of 10, that kind of woman, if she's alive, she would hate someone like Charlie. And she would celebrate right now and be dancing. Or if she is, air quotes, religious, she'd be saying, hallelujah, Jesus, he got murdered. Yeah. Because don't get it twisted. Even the people that claim that they have principles, they'll go right to church, as you call it, and then start praising whatever God they want to praise. That somebody that they don't like is dead. Not that they were dead because they were, like a piece of garbage, a genuine piece of garbage, a murderer, a rapist. No. They just said something polarizing. It's a disgusting world that we live in, folks. And it is why I don't really have much attachment for it. It's why I don't blame anyone who does not contribute. If you don't contribute to this crap, don't complain. Don't see yourself as doing something wrong. Keep living your life. Keep playing your video games. Keep neating or whatever the heck you're doing. Keep doing it. Because look at what kind of world you contribute to. Look at what you're doing to help keep other people alive. When you really think about it. Because the labor that we do keeps other people alive. Whether people want to admit it or not, think about, oh, this isn't important or not. It is, because listen, the more taxes they get to steal from us, the more crap that, yeah, it goes to stuff that we don't like, but it also goes to stuff that is necessary. They're not idiots. They're not idiots. And it keeps cocksuckers like this alive who celebrate the death of people because of their skin color. The death of people because of the views they have. Causing kids to become fatherless and wives to become widows. It's disgusting. That's all I can really say. It's just disgusting. I don't really know what to say after this, like, I'm not going to tell you that you enjoy this, because nothing like this is something that you should enjoy. You shouldn't enjoy having to hear about stuff like this, but all I can say is, like I said before, and I can't even remember what that video was about, you guys should really, really be packing some heat. Keep a blade on you or something. Do not expose your six. Don't expose your six. When I wait on my ride at work sometimes at night, I put myself in a position where, yes, there is, a spot where I guess I'm not looking because I don't have eyes in the back of my head, but I'm always watching because I don't trust anything. I don't trust anything at all. That's the world that we live in, folks. You really got to protect yourself. Please protect yourself, guys.